In 2024, an airline stood in front of a tribunal and made an argument nobody had ever made before, that the chatbot on its own website was, quote, a separate legal entity responsible for its own actions. The tribunal member's written response began, "This is a remarkable submission," which, in legal language, means you cannot be serious. Welcome back to the AI invoice. Today, the case that decided who pays when your AI gets it wrong, and the 3 questions it should make you ask before you ever sign an AI contract. November 2022. A man in British Columbia named Jake Moffatt loses his grandmother. That same day, grieving, he goes to Air Canada's website to book a last-minute flight to Ontario for the funeral. Last-minute fares are brutal, but airlines have long offered something called a bereavement fare, a discount for people flying because someone died. So Moffatt asks the website's chatbot about it. The chatbot gives him a clear, confident, helpful answer. Book your ticket now, and you can apply for the bereavement discount afterward. Within 90 days of the ticket being issued, using an online form, Moffatt does exactly what you'd want a careful customer to do. He screenshots the conversation, he books the flights, about $1,600 round trip. He attends his grandmother's funeral, and then, within a week, he submits his claim. Air Canada denies it, because the airline's actual bereavement policy says the opposite of what the chatbot said, no retroactive applications. The discount has to be arranged before you fly. Now, here's the detail that makes this episode. The detail I'd put in front of every buyer evaluating AI today. The chatbot's wrong answer contained a link to Air Canada's own bereavement travel page, the page with the correct policy. The AI contradicted the very document it was citing in one message. Moffatt sends Air Canada the screenshot. A representative admits the chatbot used, quote, misleading words, points out that the correct link was right there, and says the company has noted the issue so it could update the chatbot. Noted the issue? For a grieving customer out roughly $650. Moffatt found that about as comforting as you would and took the airline to British Columbia's Civil Resolution Tribunal instead. This is where it becomes a landmark. Air Canada's defence was that it couldn't be held liable for information provided by its, quote, agents, servants or representatives, including a chatbot. The chatbot, in effect, was its own entity, responsible for itself. Tribunal member Christopher Rivers called it a remarkable submission, and then dismantled it in 2 sentences that every executive deploying AI should have laminated. A chatbot, he wrote, is still just a part of the company's website. It makes no difference whether the information comes from a static page or a chatbot. The company is responsible for all of it. And to the argument that the correct answer was available elsewhere on the site, the ruling was just as blunt. Air Canada never explained why the bereavement page was inherently more trustworthy than its own chatbot, or why customers should have to double-check one part of a company's website against another. The award, $812.02, the fare difference, a little interest, and the filing fee, $800. Air Canada probably spent more than that on the lawyers, but the money was never the story. The precedent was, everything your AI says, you said. There is no such thing as the bot got it wrong. There is only, we told the customer the wrong thing, confidently, in writing. And shortly after the ruling, the chatbot quietly disappeared from Air Canada's website. Here's the insider view, because after 18 years around these deployments, I can tell you this failure has a recognizable anatomy. A chatbot that contradicts its own source document isn't malfunctioning in some exotic way. It's doing what happens when an AI is allowed to generate answers instead of being grounded in them, when there's no hard rule that every policy answer must come from, and match, a single source of truth. Layer on the usual suspects. Policies that changed after the bot was trained, nobody assigned to own the bot's knowledge, and testing that only ever covered the happy paths the vendor demoed. None of that is visible in a sales demo. All of it is discoverable before you sign, if you ask. So here they are, 3 questions for any AI vendor in ascending order of how much they'll hate them. If you're driving, they're in the show notes. Question 1. Where does every answer come from? Make them show you mechanically how an answer is produced. Is every policy response grounded in a specific document? And does the system verify the answer matches that document? The exact check that would have caught Air Canada's bot? Can it show its source? And what happens when the answer isn't in the knowledge base? Does it say, "I don't know," and hand off? Or does it improvise? An AI that never says, "I don't know," is the most dangerous employee you'll ever hire. Question 2. Who pays when it's wrong? Not philosophically, contractually. If the AI misstates your refund policy to 10,000 customers, does the vendor share that liability? Or does the contract quietly leave you holding all of it? Ask about accuracy commitments, indemnification, liability caps. You will learn more from the vendor's face in the 10 seconds after this question than from the entire proposal. Because the legal reality after this case is clear. The customer sues you, not your vendor. Your only protection is what's in that contract. Question 3. How fast can we correct it? Air Canada noted the issue. That is not a correction process. Demand the real one, full transcripts of every conversation so you can find wrong answers before your customer's lawyers do. The ability to correct or kill a specific answer within hours, not a retraining cycle. And an owner, a named human on your side whose job includes keeping the AI's knowledge current. A bot without an owner is an unsupervised employee talking to thousands of customers a day in writing. Grounding. Liability, correction. A vendor worth signing with has crisp answers to all three. The ones who steer you back to the demo are telling you something. Listen. Let me be fair to Air Canada for a moment, because it's the pointed but fair thing to do. Their chatbot was not unusually bad. Right now, somewhere, almost every deployed customer service AI has told someone something that isn't quite true. Air Canada's real mistake wasn't the wrong answer. It was fighting the $800 claim instead of fixing the $800 problem and making case law in the process. Their loss is your leverage. Every buyer who walks into a vendor meeting with those three questions is spending Jake Moffatt's $812 wisely. One last thing, the bottom line. Your chatbot is not a separate legal entity. Everything it says, you said. This has been the AI invoice. Next time, Klarna, Chapter 2. The AI kept working, and they hired humans back anyway. Everything I referenced is in the show notes. See you there.